best argument wins. And we're going to group them up here. So Barry and Jared, you're going to go. Dylan, Coach Price, you're going to go. KD and Craig in an Auburn versus Alabama matchup. Everybody will participate in round one.
Chopping block.
And the question is, who should be more worried about their quarterback situation? Alabama,
go ahead, Jared.
Or Georgia? Jared, you go first.
Real quick. Well, I mean, let's be honest. Tennessee and Georgia really haven't played anybody yet. So I mean, it's tough. It's tough for us to sit here and say, "Oh, well, they don't perform in big games." Joe Milton, you kind of know what you maybe know what you got, and Carson Beck hasn't looked that crisp yet. I understand that, and then you could sit there and say that maybe the playbook hasn't been opened up. They're trying to figure it out. I understand, but I mean, for right now, it's going to be Jalen Milroe in Alabama, and I say that because they're the only one that's played a big game so far, and Jalen Milroe didn't look the part. And if they're coming out this week saying we might see a lot more Tyler Buchner this weekend, I mean, that speaks for itself. And just for the simple fact, Alabama's not going to face a lot of bad defenses from here on out. LSU's got, I mean, their DBs aren't great, but their front seven's ridiculous. And they're going to have to go to Texas A&M, who, I mean, up until Saturday, I thought had a fantastic defense. So they're going to face a lot of really good front sevens that if their offensive line doesn't get any better, then their quarterback's going to have a rough situation. So I'm going to have to go Alabama. It's just for the simple fact, we haven't really seen a lot out of Carson Beck. We haven't seen a lot out of Joe Milton. They haven't played anybody yet. So I'm going to go with Alabama, Jalen Milroe, just for that fact.
You gotta ask yourself the question: who has the greatest expectations? Okay, and also who has more to work with? Who has the better team? I think that I also agree that it has to be Miro, because Alabama has expectations out of the galaxy, but at the same time, Georgia, they got everything. Nobody's worried about Beck. They feel like they've seen Bennett, who to me is, he's what he is. Just don't mess it up. You'll be fine because you got 5 stars. You got the best in every position. I think you don't worry about Tennessee because Tennessee, the expectations are low, and plus, I think that Milton he's on the ascend. I think he's ascending. I think he's a lot better than everybody gives him. He's my new Jalen Hurts. I think a lot of people are sleeping on him, but I think the kid can really play football. So I'm not worried about him. So it has the only answer that you can really give is Miro, but that's because Alabama is Alabama.
All right. Both good arguments. Craig, or let's see, JP and Dylan. Go ahead.
Get it, Coach.
Well, I could say Alabama, but that's too easy under the circumstances. But to me, it actually is Milton in Tennessee, because the one thing we know about Milton in Tennessee is he ain't never faced anybody. Now he might be on a uprise right now off of the cupcake table, but when he actually faces a defense that could put pressure on him and get him off that block, then we'll see what he's made of. As far as Carson Beck goes, I got faith in Carson Beck, not just because I'm a Georgia fan, but he's been there long enough to understand how the system works. And if you look at it, he's doing a great job right now. His passing yards are decent, but even when he came in the ball game last year and he was doing even the mop-up duty, a lot of the other teams still had their starters in, but Carson Beck scored on at least one drive in every ball game that he played in. When he came in scrub time, he always scored. Whatever Stetson Bennett went out, if we scored 33 with Stetson Bennett, we finished up with 40 because, Carson Beck's going to score. So, to me, it's Tennessee. Milton's got a lot to prove. It's all hype and hypo land, and I don't think they're going to get the job done with it.
I know it's supposed to be an argument, but I'm right there with Coach. It's Milton at Tennessee for me. you look at Alabama and Georgia. To me, it's the two most talented rosters in the country. You know, we've seen Alabama struggle this year already with poor QB play, and we could see it with Georgia. You know, early or middle of the season. But like I said, they're so stacked. Like neither one of these teams. Like you talking about at worst 9-3, 10-2 with terrible QB play for both of these teams. But to me, Tennessee, they go as far as that QB can take them. And that bullshit gimmick offense that everybody's big on with Heupel, I'm not big on it. I think Milton's going to struggle a lot, and I think they're looking at a 7-5, 8-4 season.
Oh,
I'll take that
Wow.
bet.
Hot take.
All right, KD and Craig, it's the old Iron Bowl argument. Let's hear it.
Go ahead.
You want me to go ahead? You want me to go first?
Yeah,
All
you go
right. So I'm gonna go with Georgia, and it's not just because everybody's picked Jalen Milroe. You know, I actually believe Georgia should be the most worried about their quarterback. Because look, man, it took me 60 minutes of football to figure out Alabama doesn't have any national title aspirations this year. Georgia is going for a three-peat. You know, they have aspirations to win a national title. You can't win a national title without a great quarterback. So, for me, it's Georgia. They need Carson Beck to be a great quarterback to get that three-peat that's never been done before.
Well, let me ask you a question real quick. So, are you saying that Stetson Bennett is great?
He was a
played
great
great.
college quarterback. He was
He
a
played
winning
great.
quarterback.
he was.
He's I mean, you know, AJ McCarron, he won 2 national titles while at Alabama. He wasn't an an all-star or an NFL MVP or anything like that, but you know, Bennett did what I don't when I say great, I am not really talking about stats in college. I'm talking about doing what needs to be done in the big games to get your team a win. I don't care if it's by 1 or by 40.
Yeah, I got to disagree with that one. I think Georgia is so stacked. I'm gonna, he's in the phase of just don't mess it up. Just don't mess it up, man. Yeah, it's ball control, it's defense. I mean, here's the stat everybody understands: if they don't score, we don't lose. I'm going with Joe Milton because I lived in Nashville for 20 years. And you want to talk about unrealistic expectations? Tennessee fans are the worst. I mean, the absolute worst. And they got hype of that dude throwing the ball 100 yards, and they had last year. They had that kind of. I'm not saying it was a fluky win against Alabama, but it was in Knoxville. You know, it's kind of like Jordan Hare. There's some crazy things that happen.
And we only had 17 penalties that game. So.
Yeah, a lot of penalties in that game for sure. And I'm not taking anything away, but I mean, he's got a lot to prove. He's unproven. I'm with Coach on that one. He's untested. It's a real good to have a game plan when somebody punches you in the mouth. And then you get to see how you respond. And there's a lot of defenses in the SEC, no matter if we're having it down here or not, that'll punch him right in the mouth.
Okay, so let me ask. Okay, so I got to come back to this. Everybody is saying that Georgia and Alabama is stacked. Okay, and and when you came into the year, you thought either Georgia or Alabama was going to win the national championship. So why are we putting Tennessee in the mix?
I'm not putting Tennessee in the mix.
What I'm saying then, if you don't put them in a mix, how is Milton? Why should they be worried?
He's still got to play. I mean, because I'm not putting him in the mix because I'm an Auburn fan. I'm realistic. I'm not a Tennessee fan. The Rabid-ass fan base has already got him in the mix. I can promise you that they ain't going to be happy just winning 8 games this year or 9 games. I'm telling you that fan base is they're pretty. And God bless them. It's been a long time for them.
That's true. I said it on another one of these. They are proud. They are proud, but you have to have realistic expectations.
And I hate Tennessee. Hate them. But it's kind of cool to see them back decent again. I mean, it's just like old SEC football's back, and I don't want to knock Georgia at all, but I mean, somebody in that East Division has to give Georgia some kind of competition eventually.
Tennessee, baby, mark it now.
Well, yeah,
it'll be Florida.
I think it will be too, because I think Kirby Smart has dialed in that defense against that Josh Heupel offense, and it just
Yep.
looked silly last year. They made Tennessee look silly when nobody else did. So eventually, it may be Florida under a different coach, but we'll see.
I think Tennessee's got all the pressure in the world to perform this year, and I think they're going to lay a big duty.
Well, look, great arguments, but here's who I'm taking around 2 with me. I know you guys went up against each other, but I'm bringing the Iron Bowl to round 2 with me. And I'm also going to bring Jared Cole with me. I want to see what you guys got for this round. Hot or cold take. Texas was good on offense, but Alabama was just plain bad on defense. Answer hot or cold and why. Go ahead, Jared.
Hey, man, that's a cold ass take. That really is. You got to give respect where respect's due. Texas came in and did it, but absolutely whatever they wanted to do. I understand that, you can say whatever about Alabama, but you got to give credit to the winner, because if you do win, you should have won. And Texas came in with a game plan of hitting them in the mouth on the offensive line, hitting them in the mouth on the defensive line, and they just flat out executed that. They knew their receivers were going to be better than the DBs they were playing, and they took advantage. Quinn Ewers came in, played like the Heisman contender that he is. Everybody say that out loud. Played like the Heisman contender he is. And Steve Sarkisian came in and won the game that his career depended on. His career has led up to that moment on Saturday, going to Tuscaloosa, one of the top 3 most hostile environment in the country, playing against a team that doesn't lose at home. They just don't. It doesn't happen, especially to out-of-conference competitors. Texas came in. They executed the exact game plan that they wanted. They stopped Alabama's best feature, which is running the football, and then they pinned their ears back and got after them and sacked them 5 times. So I think saying that's a hot take would be a disservice to Texas. I mean, Texas did what they wanted to do, and they beat the hell out of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and that deserves all the credit in the world.
Y'all boys got some work to do. Craig, what do you got?
I'm about to say, I heard all this talk about all these dogs on the Alabama defense. I don't think Quinn Ewers had one grass stain on his shirt. There was even the touchdowns. You got to scheme that stuff up. You can't have a double move out there and have your cornerback out in space. And I know they got the athletes to cover those guys. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from those passes, those long passes. Those guys had 3 or 4 steps, man. You cannot let that happen. How is that a surprise that Sarkisian is coming over the top on you? I don't understand it. You dial up some pressure. You get Ewers back there dancing around a little bit. They did not do it at all. I don't know how many hurried passes he had, but I know he didn't get sacked. And, I had the stat line pulled up earlier. I think what was the passing attempts was 24 for 38 for 355. I mean, out of 38 passes, the dude never really got rushed. Not more than what they were planning on to pull a move across the middle or something, or a little tight end dump. I mean, this Bama defense, Jared said it earlier, where's the dog, man? There ain't no – I promise you those other Bama guys that watched that game that played defense for them, those guys in the NFL, were pissed off. They were pissed off. That was an embarrassment for Alabama defense. I don't care who they play. That you can't look like that at home. And like I said, defense always travels, but it looks real good at home. And I'm not taking anything away from Texas for coming in and stealing a win at Bryant-Denny, because God knows that's hard to do. But, I mean, they were out-coached, outplayed. I thought the defense looked real bad. I'm not to get off topic. Everybody's putting all this pressure on Milroe. You can't win a game when you rush for 107 yards in the SEC, period. I don't care who you play. They didn't do him no favors. They didn't take no pressure off. They didn't get any play action stuff going to get a little short, get him in a rhythm. It was an intermediate pass, 2 runs. Then let's try to take the top off again, because he throws a beautiful deep ball. I mean, they just look bad, man. Everything about that game was bad. And I know it was only a 10-point loss, and that was not the Bama teams we're used to seeing. That was somebody brought some kryptonite. Sarkisian had some kryptonite in his bag, some saving kryptonite, baby, because they looked human for the first time in a long time.
All right, round 2. Cap us off, KD.
Look, this answer might not get me to round 3, but it's just my honest answer. Yes, Texas offense is that good. Yes, Alabama's defense is that bad. No, you got Sarkisian and 10 returning starters for Texas. Of course, their offense is legit. But this isn't the first time I've seen Alabama give up 34 points or 6 or 7 big plays in a game that go over for 50 yards. So again, the last 2 years, I think Alabama's given up a little over 20 points a game. They give up 350-yard passing games by quarterbacks like the Girl Scouts now. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I honestly think both are true. But, that's just how I see it.
You know what? I agree with your argument, but you are right. It won't get you to round 3 this time. We're going to have the oldest rivalry in the South. It's Auburn and Georgia for round 3. And you know what, Jared, you've come out hot both times. So I'm going to give you the winners card right here. You're going to be able to go last. Craig, start us off. Round 3.
What's the round 3 question again?
Round 3 is, who is the most impressive quarterback? Quinn Ewers, Shedeur Sanders, Michael Penix Jr., or Caleb Williams, and why?
It's got to be Shedeur Sanders, right? I mean, that kid came from HBCU school. Nobody expected him to be doing this in Division I like this FBS competition. I mean, I know he hadn't played great competition yet, but he's carving them up, man. I mean, he's carving them up, and look at the pressure that kid's under. I think that's something we overlook, and everybody talks about NIL and this, that, and the other. Not only is your dad the coach, your dad's a cocky coach, and I like that. Don't get me wrong. And he's got some of that. Shedeur's got some of that dog in him. Don't you think he don't? Did you see where the Colorado State coach is already talking trash about, where I'm from, men take their glasses off and their hats off when they shake hands. Why are you giving Dion bullet board material? He don't need it. He's his own bullet board material, right? I mean, he just makes something up on you. You don't have to give that. But my vote goes for Shedeur, man. I'm real excited to see what that kid can do. And I'm not quite ready to get on the Heisman train yet. He does have some stats, so far. Again, we'll see as the season wears on. But just the pressure he's under and just the national microscope that kid's faced. When you go to Alabama as Jalen Milroe, you expect it. You're going to be competing for a championship. The microscope's going to be on you. If you complete passes, you're going to have fans threatening your life. That's how that works. Nobody expected Colorado to do this, except for who was in that room. And just the pressure that kid's under and the way he's been performing has impressed the hell out of me.
And cool as a cucumber, I might add, he is.
Yes.
Let's be honest. It almost seems like sometimes he's in the pocket and the rush is all around him. He ain't moving. I mean, he's just like, I've never seen. I mean, honestly, the only way you could be that cool is if your dad was Deion Sanders. I just don't know another way to put it. The dude is ice cold, and I'm very excited to hear you pick that. Jared, you got the winner's card. You're going last in the championship round. What do you got?
Man, I feel like Eminem at 8 Mile right now. Look, man, I gave the ball to Quinn Ewers during the Alabama game, which he played absolutely freaking phenomenal. I mean, the guy threw for over 300 yards against Bama. Nobody does that. But the answer is Shedeur Sanders, man. Look, this guy for 3 weeks has proved me wrong, and as far as I know, everybody in the country wrong. I took the under on them for 3.5 wins, and I'm about to be under the damn table next week. Because they're about to win again this weekend. And he said it good a second ago, man, the pressure that this kid is under is immense. I mean, you're going to be College game day this week. 3 years ago, if you would have told somebody in the next 5 years that Colorado was going to be the game day of the week, I would have laughed at you. Absolutely laughed at you. But this cat has come in and thrown for over 900 freaking yards. He does it with sometimes kids you've never even heard of. And let's be honest, he's done it with kids that he's played with for less than 8 months. I mean, the whole team's been put together overnight, and somehow they come out and do it. He looks relaxed in the pocket. He gets the ball out, and I know he's got a great offensive coordinator. I get that. But this kid worked with Tom Brady all summer, and it shows. The only critique you could have against him is maybe he holds the ball too long. But, I mean, hell, in the Pac-12, dude, you could probably hold the ball for 15 minutes. They don't play defense out there anyway. So who gives a crap? I mean, this kid will be over 1,000 yards in the first half of next game, going to play Colorado State. The whole team is behind him. I mean, he's got Travis Hunter on the outside. He's got a Horn on the outside. His running back, I think, runs for 400 yards a freaking game. He's got everybody around him, and his coach is freaking Dion. So all the spotlight is on him, and yet, like we said, he sits there and takes it with on the chin. He never wavers. He never feels like he's under pressure, and he does it every freaking game so far. I picked against him at the start of the year, and I couldn't be more wrong. Shedeur Sanders is right now the most impressive guy I've seen under the circumstances that he's in. They won one game last year, and they've more than doubled that in week 3. So Shedeur Sanders is the easy pick here. Like I said, I'll give the nod to Quinn for what he did at Bama. That's absolutely unbelievable. But Shedeur Sanders has absolutely proved everybody in the country wrong, and he's done it week in and week out.
All right, before I give the answer of tonight's winner, I want to applaud you fellas, because the one answer I was looking for today was Shedeur Sanders. And the reason, because our last segment, we just talked about what school would be more worried about a quarterback situation. Let's be honest. If Shedeur Sanders was at any of those 3 schools, it would be on front page news, even more so than what we're seeing now. He would be a full-blown Heisman Trophy winner before we got to October, and that's the reality of it. So with that being said, tonight, and I hope this never happens again, we have co-champions. Craig and Jared, you caught me first. I'm not going to lie. When you started on the Texas, I was going to have to say you took the easy way out and you lost. But you both went with the correct answer tonight and what I was really looking for. Shedeur Sanders is unreal. Cool as a cucumber. I don't know if the end of the world would scare him. I'm very excited to see what we'll see, next week against USC. But, shout out to all you guys. Y'all had great arguments. But tonight's winners, Jared and Craig, the oldest rivalry in the South, wins again.